About 30 years ago, a group of us as science faculty members recognized that we had a fair number of domestic students of color that started at Grinnell with a very strong interest in science, but very few graduated with science majors. And there were a lot of assertions that we were admitting unqualified students, but we really wanted to look at what was going on. So we got together and we did some data analysis, and what we found is that there was really not, the risk factors were not academic preparation, but being a first-generation college student, being a domestic student of color, or graduating from high school where less than half the students went to college. And so they were really social environmental risk factors rather than the students couldn't do algebra or whatever what many of the assertions were. So we decided to develop a program that really focused on that includes a week-long pre-orientation program the week before the rest of the students come, where students are getting familiar, meeting a lot of faculty members, getting familiar with the campus, building camaraderie among them, and with some experienced students that can serve as mentors for them. And then a lot of curricular and pedagogical changes of the students, and trying to involve students in hands-on research or research-like experiences, both in their courses and in dedicated research projects very early on. It was important for those of us that started to be talking and mentoring other faculty members, and sometimes this wasn't necessarily in a typical mentor-mentee age relationship. It was really orthogonal to age, that people that were trying things did things in different ways. And I would also say that in some respects the mentoring occurred from our students. So for instance, some of our introductory physics classes changed to be what we call a workshop format, where the students were not in a lecture but were discovering and working in groups and the like, and that was demonstrating success. And chemistry students came to the chemistry department that I'm in and said, why don't you do that? And we're a very student-oriented institution, and we didn't have an answer of why we didn't do that. So we made changes. So the mentoring has run in multiple different directions, and really building those relationships was a really very important part of it. Building the relationships and trust among all of us, the students, the faculty, the administration, in a supportive way. And Grinnell College was founded by a band of abolitionists in 1846 that were, and so it's had a really strong social justice mission its whole time. And so these kinds of issues gain a fair amount of traction as part of really the DNA of the institution. So in the pre-orientation program, we have typically about 3 faculty members that are running this week-long program, and there are a lot of activities that help the faculty members and the students kind of bond, and they're really with them for the whole week. And then we rotate a lot of faculty members into that, whether that's coming and helping run a session about, okay, you're in your first semester, how do you choose classes for an hour or so, or the students spend 3 afternoons a week working on a research-like project with a faculty member, and so they spend 2 or 3 hours each afternoon for 3 hours a week, so they build a relationship. So we try to provide a lot of different opportunities for the students to meet and connect with faculty members. And part of that is that when they have difficulty later on, they can have somebody that they can go to, whether that's the instructor in their course or just somebody that they've said, okay, you're not my chemistry faculty member, but I'm having this difficulty in my course and I'm having a tough time talking to the faculty member. Can you help me to learn how to work with that person, or just help me with what I need right now? And this is something that happened afterwards, but Leslie Gregg Jolly, one of my colleagues, really developed this kind of paradigm of what we've done, is developing a web of mentoring with the idea that the student is really connected up by a lot of threads of support, and that at any particular moment in time, one or more of those threads is likely to be broken, but there are enough of those threads that are really supporting the student in a mentoring way. I think mentoring isn't new or important to the particular students, so to domestic students of color, for instance. I think if you interview almost anybody, particularly in science, but otherwise, that if they think about what's led to their success, it's been mentoring relationships. It's just those relationships haven't really built in as effective a way for all students as they needed to, and what we need to do is to be very intentional about broadening out, and as we want to be more diverse both for social justice reasons and just for demographic reasons in the nation, we need to build those mentoring relationships out in ways that some people might not have been comfortable with all their ways, but to be very intentional about doing that and building those relationships to just help understand what it means to become a professional, to become a scientist, that there's going to be lots of times when you stub your toe, and that's part of the process, and that that's how you learn. I have learned to tell my students that as I've gotten older and I reflect back on my life, that my profound learning experiences were not comfortable. And so you need to put yourself in some situations where you become uncomfortable and you really learn and you gain a lot from those kinds of experiences. So I think mentoring really has been important all along. It's not really a new thing, but it's something that we need to recognize and to do broadly for all of our students.